everyone. Here we go again. Morning Drive on YouTube. Glad to have you with us. How about Phil Mickelson making his 2020 debut this week at the American Express, where he will also serve as the official tournament host. Now, this will be his 17th start in the event, one at which he has 2 wins coming in 2002. He did it again in 2004, but 2020 is a big year for Phil Mickelson, especially as he turns the big 5-0 in June. So, Robert Dameron, what do you believe is Phil's main source of motivation in 2020?
Just history. I think the main source of motivation is troubling right now. I'm trying to find one. Of course, he's already part of history. He's submerged himself so much into this Twitter, into the social media, into being funny, goofy, guy with Larry David and the like. What is it? He's turning 50. I certainly don't see him, challenging Bernard Langer. I don't think he's going to be out there playing a whole lot of PGA Tour Champions events, if any.
Tiger Woods just won his 15th major championship. He won the Zozo, 82 PGA Tour wins, and Phil's making fireside chats. I mean, if anything for his professional pride, you would think that's the motivation. I want to finish.
You think he's still chasing Tiger?
I don't think he's chasing Tiger, but he's chasing a better finish to his PGA Tour career than the one he has given us for the last 7 or 8 months.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's always going to get up for the majors. If he catches lightning in a bottle, I think he can still beat the world's best on the toughest courses and the toughest setups. I think the Ryder Cup this year, 2020 Ryder Cup, trying to make that at age 50, the President's Cup was the first time since 1993 that he was left off a U.S. team. That just had to sting. Watching the boys who he's gone to battle with so many times pull out the win there. But Phil's going to have to make that Ryder Cup team on his own. Well, I think the days of him getting a pick, regardless of how long he goes back with Steve Stricker, I think he's got to earn it with his own merit and with his own play.
Well, that's it. And he said about a year ago, if he could make the President's Cup last year, which of course he didn't, but if he could make the 2020 Ryder Cup as a 50-year-old, then he could just ride off into the sunset and be a happy man. But that doesn't look like the way that things are going right now. How much will Phil be thrown by the reality that he's facing at the moment?
It's going to be very difficult. Riding off into the sunset is just on your own terms. Isn't something, unless you're Susan Pedersen, which that was a miracle. It just doesn't happen that much. Everybody's going to feel like they've left something on the table. Phil's going to be no different. Tiger's going to be no different when he's done. It's just the nature of somebody that competitive, that confident, that good. How long does he hang on trying to close the chapter, the book of Phil Mickelson's career the right way? That's what's yet to be seen.
He's seen the end of so many fantastic streaks. The top 50 from November of '93 to November of last year.
1,300 weeks.
Remarkable.
Inside the top.
And also, you mentioned representing the United States in the President's Cup and the Ryder Cup. So the writing's on the wall. It's right in his face, the writing on the wall. But he's got to push back. You wouldn't be a World Golf Hall of Famer if you didn't.
11 months ago, we're thinking this is a guy who could challenge deep into his 50s. He looked so good at Pebble. He was so under control. And then he complained, at the end of the year to Dave Shedlowski of Golf Digest that he was suffering from mental lapses of concentration. He was having trouble focusing on the golf course. That's kind of been a recurring theme over these past 3 or 4 years when he hasn't played his best golf. He's kind of attributed it to mental sharpness.
Well, how does the mental sharpness and lack of focus coincide with the chasing of bomb dropping on the golf course? He has been very vocal that I'm after speed. They don't correlate. One has nothing to do with the other. But I'm saying that one, being that chase for speed, could be as damning to his game as the lack of focus.
And if you play poorly, you're more likely to lose focus, to lose interest.
It's easy to focus when things are good.
But of course, in Phil's style, every time that we've heard from him after any round that he's played, he's been pretty positive. He said he feels like the game is coming back and he's doing all the right things. But it's interesting hearing from Victor Hovland there reference the fact that he believes Phil, he may be joking, but is having a bit of a midlife crisis. Do you think what we see from Phil on social, on the course, do you think long-term that will change the way that we see Phil and how his career was coming into the twilight?
I'm not so sure. I think he's always connected with fans. I think he's more kind of satisfying a curiosity now, and it's something that he seems tailor-made for. Quick one-liners or poking fun at the guys he's been seeing in the locker room for 25 or 30 years, posting funny videos. I think the fitness stuff is probably overwrought at this point. I'm ready just to see him play good golf, but he certainly seems to be like setting the foundation for like an HBO show down the road where it's just Phil on a wide variety of topics.
He's embracing his inner crazy uncle.
Yeah.
At this point, and I think that's fine to a certain extent. I don't think his legacy is going to change because he's sitting down with Larry David or inviting a sommelier from France over to taste wine. But I do think he wants to finish with a different taste in his mouth, if I can keep that wine analogy going, than the one he has now. It just doesn't seem fitting for a player of his talent, of his pedigree, to continue to go out there missing cuts, hitting wild shots, and making these dumb videos as a whole. If he's making the videos and playing a little better golf, then I can forgive him of his humorous attempts.
Yeah, well, you like to think it is not yet over for Phil Mickelson. And with Lefty on the brain, let's continue the conversation with a game of Phil in the blank. So, Robert Darren, first up, Phil's week will be blank.
Well, I said this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I tried to be clever saying he's going to make the cut but finish towards the bottom. It's going to be ending with an early Sunday alarm. Sunday morning, he's going to be one of the first groups off, getting out there, let's say T60. The desert's a place he plays well. He had a really good shot at winning last year.
Yes.
Long's incredible birdie on the last hole. And great history there, but I just don't see anything to make me think he's coming back. His form's coming back. He's been off quite a while now, and I'm sure he's been practicing and trying to get fit, but I just need to see the trend change before I'm pumped and excited to see the Phil we know on the course.
Who has more institutional knowledge around PGA West than the two-time champ who was runner-up last year than Phil Mickelson? So my fill in the blank, his week in the desert, it will be good. And viewers who know Jocko, the Navy SEAL, will know. Phil has recalibrated. He's re-engaged. He's going to be in a very comfortable place and venue where he shot, 30 under in his 2 wins? He's going to be just fine this week. And this is going to be a good start to his 20.
Define good.
Is
top what?
Top 25?
Top 10. That's
top 10.
Better
it's
than
a good start.
Yeah.
Good.
Good.
Wow. I'm going to go with illuminating.
Oh.
And I'm saying that Phil obviously doesn't need to win, but he does need to show some progress. Traditionally, this has been kind of a launching pad for him. There's not going to be any wind. He can bomb it anywhere. There's virtually no rough on any of these golf courses. 6 top 10s since 2000 here. Top 3s 2 of the last 4 years. Only 1 missed cut. This is a way for him to get going in his season. I think it'll be illuminating because if he does miss the cut, it kind of portends some more poor finishes on this West Coast swing.
Yeah, I hear what you're all saying, and I think I agree with all of it. So I'm going to say I think this week for Phil will be surprising. And by that, I mean pleasantly surprising. Because
good.
So good, yeah. Illuminating and surprising. Because, we don't know what to expect from Phil, and his track record over the last few months has not been great. But like you say, he's comfortable on this course. He's had great success here. He's hosting this event. So this is his week. He's the big man on campus. He should be feeling really confident, and hopefully it'll be a surprisingly positive start to his year.
So many reasons for him to play well this week. A short drive or flight if he wants to. From his home in San Diego. This is a week where he's going to be comfortable. He knows the venue so well. He does not want to start this season as he ended last season.
I would agree.
Okay, let's spin it forward. Big picture, lad. Fill in the blank. Phil's season will be blank.
I'm going to go with transitional. And by that I mean more of a carryover from what we saw in 2019. I don't think it's necessarily, the symbolicness of the symbolism, I should say, of turning 50, but we saw him last year him fall out of the top 50. He's not necessarily going to be eligible this year for the U.S. Open. Some of the WGCs now are in jeopardy. It seems like he's going to be Champions Tour eligible. It seems like he's phasing into that next step of his career. I'm curious to see how it's going to go. If last year's any indication, though, we're kind of full steam ahead with the next phase of Phil's life.
Yeah, I like that. Robert?
I put meh. For him,
good.
We'll say okay. The last half or last 3 quarters of last season were abysmal. Probably the worst golf he's ever played. I can't imagine that's going to continue. I think it'll get better. We might see 2 or 3 top 10s, maybe a weekend contention somewhere, but for what we know and expect of Phil, I don't see that happening either. So just, okay, whatever.
Interesting. Should I go next? I think Phil's season will be better than most predict. And that means contention. And that means making his way into the top 60 to qualify in time for a U.S. Open at Winged Foot. And it all begins this month on the West Coast swing, where he has been a dominant player. All these videos about hitting bombs, you know what that's called, folks? That's called subterfuge. He's working on his short game. He's working on his putting.
He was just skiing like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, he wants to enjoy himself a little bit as well. But I really believe that a prideful World Golf Hall of Fame member is not going to go out this way. And I believe a talented, maybe top 10, 12 player of all time is going to have a different ending than most people are predicting.
So you think that he's going to have a good week here?
I do.
Palm Springs. Torrey Pines, he's not played well there in more than a decade. He's heading to Saudi Arabia as opposed to playing in Phoenix. Then he's going Riv. Then he's
where
going
he's won
Pebble.
a couple of times.
A lot
Pebble
of golf.
Beach.
A lot of
golf.
Soon to be 50-year-old.
Riv and Torrey really
He's
tough
dropped
driving. You got
some
to drive
weight.
it
He's
good.
gone opposite of Bryson. He's put the pounds off, not putting them on.
Is this your heart speaking, or is this
Yes.
are you speaking from what
you
you're
know what
seeing?
this is? This is the player that I've been covering for the last 20 years. And much like Tiger, I've seen the circus. I've been inside the tent. And I believe Phil Mickelson, who talks a lot of junk and who has about as big an ego as you will find on the planet in the sports frame, is going to come back and surprise a lot of people. He's just too special. His hands are too good.
He's been good for
too
so long that you hope that he plays well in 2020
I'd
because
be
it makes
surprised if he
golf so
lays
much
an
more
egg on the
interesting.
West Coast swing. I'd be
Yeah.
shocked.
That'd be
Prepared for a bad
Yes.
rest of the season.
Yes.
If
It would be
completely-
indicative.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
don't get me wrong. I would love to be holding up that board if that's what I truly believe. But I think it's going to be a grind. I think for Phil to achieve the things that he would love to, would dream of achieving this year, qualifying for the US Open, qualifying for the US Ryder Cup team, it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard work. And I'm just not sure from what we're seeing right now that he's going to be able to achieve those goals, which will be tough on him, I think.
Long golf swing, injury-free. Weren't we just talking about that 5 minutes ago when he won at Pebbles? Like, oh, this is the ageless Phil. What happened to that discussion?
49. No one's ageless.
Okay.
No one's ageless.
And he's
He
chased
catches.
speed and distance to his detriment because it seems to have trickled down to the rest
True.
of his game.
And 180 last year in scrambling. 180. This guy's the best of all time, possibly, around the greens. 180th is quite a drop-off.
Not given enough credit for how hard he works. And we're going to see a difference
Never.
in Phil in
The man
2020.
is
hope
a
so.
living legend.
Yeah, he sure is, Anna. Well, if you're watching, put your thoughts in the comments. Let us know what you think about Lefties 2020. Hopefully you've enjoyed the conversation. Be sure to subscribe to Golf Channel's YouTube page for more. Tune into Golf Channel and Morning Drive every day for the latest golf news.